a wall full of books, and today I'm going to share with you my top favorites in two different categories: personal development and leadership growth. Are you ready? But before I jump right in, if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release a video. If you're new here, my name is Denise. Welcome. I'm a transformational trainer. I was a clinical psychologist turned entrepreneur, and I've spent the last 20 years helping people get what they want. I love it. Now, let's dive right in. Personal development was something that I jumped into at the start of my business. I read books, I listened to books, I listened to podcasts, YouTube, you name it. If there was something that I thought could expand my mind and grow my skills, I was in. Now, over the past couple decades, there's several books that I continue to refer to people, that I continue to reread, and that I feel like have elevated me even more than the rest. Now, as I've started to find them throughout my house, there's a few I couldn't find. It was either like way too long ago, or maybe it was an audiobook, or maybe they got lost in the move, or I donated it to a friend, whatever. So some I'm just going to put on the screen, and some I have here next to me. But the first author I'd love to refer you to is Tony Robbins. It's like, yes, Tony Robbins. He was the first personal development author guru that I really fell in love with at the beginning of my business. I believe the book is called Awaken the Giant Within. And oh my gosh, I grew new brain cells, I grew in my confidence, and it allowed me to feel confident in my spark that had been lit and give me mindset skills to keep me going. I listened to Tony on my drive to work, on my runs, and I felt like I was constantly pouring into myself through listening to his books. So Tony Robbins, hand down. If you haven't read him, do it today. He's got like a million other books and a million events, and he's all over the place, so you'll find him. All right, next, my second favorite author that I found in terms of personal development was Joel Osteen. Now, Joel Osteen is amazing when you're going through a hard time. If you're going through emotional negativity, fear, stress, anxiety, worry, any of that, Joel is like your personal cheerleader. He is constantly speaking life like it's his job. He's taking you from rut to revival by reminding you that there's always hope, that God is always on your side, and helping you retrain your brain by speaking life into you over and over and over and over again. So I he has like a radio show, I listen to him on Audible a lot, and then I also read The Power of I Am. I read this book when I was going through an emotional hard time. Like life was not awesome when I was reading this book. I was emotionally struggling. And I was in that darker place where I was feeling blah and negativity and not good enough, and like I felt like my world was crashing in around me. And The Power of I Am taught me that, like, I know we are what we think about, right? But he also showed me you are what you feel. And so I learned to retrain my brain. I learned to reconnect my emotions with what I want, and before it even was in my physical world. And guess what? It became a part of my physical world, and I believe that outward transformation was because of the inner transformation, and The Power of I Am was a big piece of that. Okay, so if you want a couple more skill building, like personal development books, the next is Success Principles by Jack Canfield. You hear me talk about this book all of the time because this book really was a game changer for me. Not only did I read it and implement it, I did a Come As You Will Be party with my team and several times since then, and that was an idea born from this book. I ended up being trained with Jack Canfield and got to meet him and his team through the Train the Trainer program. Like, this was a catalyst for me, like the domino effect that impacted so many other areas. And how many skills are there? Like a million. This is a really in-depth book. It's like a classic for a reason, you know? And if you don't know who Jack Canfield is, he's the one that started the Chicken Soup for the Soul $1 billion craze. And since then, he interviewed thousands of successful people and then boiled their success down to these principles. And let me see how many there are, because there's a ton. Okay, 67 principles. Boiled it down to 67 principles. Yeah, it's amazing. But it's really, really powerful. And this was something that really changed my view of myself and my view of success. And in conjunction with that, the Aladdin Factor, I read this first, and then I got the book because I knew I wanted to highlight it. So the Aladdin Factor taught me to be a professional asker and to be okay with wanting things. I don't know about you, but I felt like I felt guilty for wanting things. I felt like I should always put other people first. I felt like if I had a desire, it wasn't important enough to speak up about. And I lived in this, like, I'm second place all the time for a long, long, long time. And what the Aladdin Factor did for me was say, no, your wants, your needs, your desires are valid and important. And it's okay to ask for it. This really was like an important skill for me to learn, and one I didn't even know I needed until I read it, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm totally not doing that. Like, I was constantly putting myself second or down. And not that you need to be forceful or, powerful in a way. It was really just honoring myself and asking for what I wanted. And then I've got two more leadership or personal development books for you that are more sciencey in a way. The first one is by Dr. Leaf, Switch On Your Brain. As you can see, I've taken notes with this, I've done calls with this, teaching this material to other people. And Dr. Leaf, she is like a brain researcher, and she's done research on traumatic brain injuries, on what your brain does when you're thinking and feeling certain ways, and the hormones that are released. And she really says, like, you become what you think about. So think about what you want to become. And she connects it with science and scripture. And this was a really great book for me to read when I know the psychology skills. I know this stuff works. But she was able to back it with clinical trials, with research, and then connected it with scripture and was like, Jesus has been teaching us this whole time. Like, mind blown. It was so good. And then because of that book, I ended up reading Dr. Joe Dispenza, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Again, another science-based book on the fact that you become what you think about. So being intentional about who you are and what you want and what you do, and connecting with the neurological side of yourself. And like, oh my gosh, you guys, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself is a story about how Dr. Joe Dispenza was in an accident and basically healed himself, like his spine, that he was going to have surgery, and he said no. He healed his spine through meditation and really intentionally focusing on it. I mean, it's mind-blowing what your body can do when you decide. Oh my gosh. Okay. So personal development makes you better, and as you get better, you can impact people more. We always say, if you want your team to grow, like, grow the people in the team, and the team will grow and get better. And so personal development for me was a must, because I knew I always had to be learning, so I had always had something to teach. I knew that I had to be fed so that I could overflow. Now, I also know that in leadership, you want to learn new skills. And so I spent some time learning leadership skills, communication skills, how to get the best out of people, how to really help them connect with who they are and what they really want, so they're lighting their own inner flame. And one book that I read about 10 years ago was called The Anatomy of Winning. Coach Michael Burt wrote this book. In fact, I recently interviewed him on the Dreamcast, and I'll put the link to that interview below. It was really, really amazing. But he talks about coaching the whole person and really creating a system for mind, body, heart, and spirit. And when you create a system and a culture within the team that connects and addresses all of those 4 areas, people get better. So this was a really helpful book to take all of the personal development stuff I was learning and putting it into a practice that helped my team grow too. Anatomy of Winning. And then the last but not least, my favorite author in terms of leadership skills is John Maxwell. Anything by John Maxwell. I have the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership right here. I have several others of his books on my shelf. John Maxwell taught me that when you add value, the money will come. And so when we help people grow, we all win. And giving with the idea of giving and knowing and trusting that fruit will come from that in all areas of our life. And so I have learned how to be a better leader because I'm learning these skills from those who are awesome leaders. So Tony Robbins, Jack Canfield, Joel Osteen, John Maxwell, you guys, these are iconic leaders in personal development and leadership space. And so I try to consume pretty much everything they throw at me. And so for the past 20 years, I've been reading, I've been learning, I've been creating. And in my new book, Design Your Dream Life, which is coming out in May of 2019, I took all of these learnings and putting them together with my own experience, where we talk about the psychology, the science, the scripture, the roadmap essentially for you, how you can get what you want to. So I hope that this was helpful. I'll link all of the books in the description below so you can check out and get your library growing too. And if you want more of this type of information, then check out my 2 free resources. I have the Dreamcast, which is my podcast filled with inspirational stories. And then I also have a new quiz. It's at denisewalsh.com/quiz. And this is a 6-question assessment that you can take that will help you identify what is blocking you from designing your dream life today. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.